For about a few months now, I've been working on my own fighting game using ikemengo. For a quick recap, I went over why I chose this engine, how I went about making character animations, and the problems I faced. Sometime later, I went over my plans for changing up the graphics and gameplay style to make the game stand out a bit more. Then, about 3 months ago, I released a teaser showcasing the changes I made to the game since the last video. Today, I want to bring you guys through the process of how I make stuff for this game. So, let's get to it. Starting with character animations. We're reworking Clyde's whole set of animations to fit with the new art direction. On average, each character needs to have about 34 different animations. That includes standing, ducking, walking, running, all different types of attack animations, etc. Animating the characters is probably what takes up the most of my time when developing the game. Aside from messing around with stuff I don't really understand in Fighter Factory, but I'll mention that more later. At my usual pace, I can get at least one animation finished and one animation started a day. Though at that rate, getting all the animations done for Clyde today is definitely off the table. But that's okay. For now, let's go over what we have and what we're going to be doing now. For Clyde, I have his idle animation, 2 attack animations, and a third one that's not finished yet. I'll be finishing up this third one and starting with the next at a later date. I'm no master at animation, so using references is my best friend here. I either reference real life footage, movies, video games, or anime. I'll scrub through the references frame by frame and make keyframes based on which poses I think are the most important. Then, I'll go and do the in-between frames. The attack animation I'm working on now is heavily inspired off of Raven's move from Tekken, Body Blow. After grabbing a GIF of the move, I start animating it. Here's the final product. Now I just gotta rinse and repeat about 30 more times. Yay. Moving on. Next up, stage design. And for that, we're moving to the 3rd dimension. Thanks to ikemengo being awesome, we can use 3D models as stages. Since I turned this first stage 3D, we'll move on to the next stage. Luminous Cave. Before I get into making the stage, I like to have a visual reference for what I'll be modeling. I'd sketch something simple and then try to recreate it in Blender. We can skip a step here though, since we already have a visual reference for the stage. Before the graphical overhaul, stages were going to be 2D, so we're going to be using the old stage art as our reference when we model the new stage. I'm not great at this, but I've been using Blender a lot more recently for both this project and my animated web series. So while I'm not 3D modeling every day, I think I've had plenty of practice and experience to at least be somewhat decent. After modeling the stage and adding textures, we need to bake the lighting, which basically means we'll be adding the lighting to the textures itself. We need to do it this way since ikemengo doesn't have any real-time lighting. So just throwing the stage model in the game will lead to it looking pretty flat. With the baked lighting, it should look like this. I do wish I could make the characters darker to fit with the lighting more, but this should do for now. Let's move on. Now the next thing I'd cover is importing the sprites and making the attacks, but since Clyde's animations aren't done yet, I'm saving these for later. But that's basically my process for working on the game. Animate the characters, model the stages, and import everything. Rinse and repeat. Of course it's not that simple. I'm no master programmer, and Fighter Factory has thrown me for a loop a few times. In a previous video, I went over the troubles I had with its color palette system. Not only that, but it's a little easy for me to get burnt out on working on this project. Working on all the animations for each character, and having to trial and error my way through certain parts with no tutorials for stuff I'd want to add definitely makes all of this feel like a chore. But at the end of the day, when I complete certain goals of mine and look at how this game is progressing, I feel like it's all worth it in the end. So, thanks for taking an interest in my work. And I hope to see you again in the next playable build of Temple's Trouble Tournament. Hey, welcome to the end of the video. Hope you guys liked it. Once again, trying to get back into this format of doing these sort of like longer, more in-depth videos of what I'm doing, how I do it, all that good stuff. Sorry, the voiceover was so shit. I don't know what happened, but fuck it, we ball. Yeah, bye.